Meeting with the crime lord boss lady. Kindly Cheng. Kindly's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and an air of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of Kindly Cheng. She beckons to him with her finger and he struggles toward her, loud rustling of the plastic tarp crackling under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. An acetylene torch lies on the table at Cheng's right hand. Kindly Chen ignores the scene. She behaves as if all is right in the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Not too well, Auntie. I had a bad dream. You register a brief hesitation before she responds. You poor darling. Perhaps it's the food here. I understand it can be a bit too spicy for outsiders. Still, a bad dream is a better way to spend the night than getting a bullet in the ear while you sleep. She flicks a mahjong tile at the kneeling man's head. Wouldn't you agree, shitbird? She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shitbird here is a plain-clothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that your rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head back toward the pillar of meat standing behind her. You can thank Mr. Bao for that. Thank you for guaranteeing our safety, Mr. Bao. Bao inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. Kindly Cheng addresses the bloody man on his knees. Now, shitbird, tell my friends here what you told me. I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the orders in last night. He pushes his head toward you and Wu from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department is on it. I don't know anything else. Someone from high up? The old woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? Cop looks up at her, looks around the room filled with triad soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it slowly and winks. The cop drops his head to his chest. All the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead. Feng spits on him with a sneer. Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation, give me the truth. Cop wears the spittle. He never leaves his head. It's the truth, madam, I swear it. Whoever it was labeled them as terrorists. We're to exterminate them with extreme prejudice. Kindly Cheng shuffles closer to the kneeling cop. Kneeling down, reaches down and strokes his head with her hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into scalp. She pulls back hard until his chin points high. Triad Boss leans in close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his bust-cut hair with her hand. For whatever reason, last night, someone on the Executive Council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered the Hong Kong police force to kill two nobodies from Seattle. I find that fascinating, don't you? Yes, but why the need to label us international terrorists? She strokes the policeman's cheek with the back of her hand. Her rusty voice becomes sweet as she explains the ways of the world. Propriety, my darling. When the government has someone gunned down, they prefer to make it appear justified. The people feel safer when their murderers feel like part of civilization. My, but you have definitely fallen into the deep end of the pool. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There, the megacorps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The Executive Council is chosen by the Corporate Board of Governors. They're basically the legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call all the shots, neat and efficient. Hartley Cheng steps back from the cup and lights one of her thin black cigars. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power. He looks around the room. But not for us. The Triad woman takes a long puff from her cigar and taps her ash on the kneeling cop's head. Who else knows about my guest's visit to Hawaii, shitbird? No one, madam. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted to kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. He turns to her and forces her. Mr. Bao? Bao fiddles with the PDA in his meaty hands. He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. He nods at the cop. Thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangler Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head, and replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. Well, I was wondering what we were going to do with him. Jane takes a drag on her cigar, indicates the body. He knew, my darling, he knew. He balances her cigar on her shot glass, picks up some mahjong tiles, and begins playing with them absently. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the Wall City, something having to do with prosperity. And this Executive Council member wanted Raymond dead for it. She stacks her tiles one by one. Click clack. Now they want you dead for it too. Click. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. She knocks the pile over and it clatters to the table loudly. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. A smile lights up her jet black eyes. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gotcha dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players unaffiliated with the Triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourself resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. That can be a positive in this line of work. So, Shadowrunners. Who grunts, his jaw tightens, but he stays quiet. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. He nods at the body of the floor. Body of the floor. The pool of blood on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You'll have a safe harbor here in my town and a steady source of income. She picks up a handful of tiles again. And while you dip your toe in the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime, and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find the plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's talked to, who stood to gain from his death, what his prosperity be. Putting out a lot of effort to help a pair of foreigners. Not foreigners, my sweet. Valued business associates. I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then ordered the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. Her voice drops and she becomes deathly serious. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Fate dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. How would the arrangements work? I find the right jobs for people with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of yen very quickly. It's all very civilized. He leans in. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my network work for you and help you find out what you've gotten yourself into. Without my help, you won't last a day out there. You are completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You need a partner. Kindly Cheng will be your partner. Wu's hands go to his hips. He drops his head and shakes it a little confused. I gotta wrap my brain around this, Bob. Things are moving fast. There's a lot to process. I had to see this coming, Duncan. I know. I get it. I just gotta reconcile this whole... He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hand away. Ah, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. He nods. The decision's made. I mean, what about you? I'm in too. Didn't have anything back home anyway. He looks at you and lets out a chuckle. Yeah, you might wanna ask yourself why someday. Okay, I'm in, but this is a temporary situation for me. Raymond is alive, I'm sure of it, so I'll run the shadows as long as Auntie Cheng keeps up her end of the bargain and helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it is done. Heoi is now open to you. She gestures to her lieutenant, who raises a finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business, Uncle Bob here has already chosen a street name. She turns her attention to Wu. But Duncan Wu don't exist anymore. You'll need one too. Wu sighs. Yeah, okay, I'll think of something. Gobbet rubs her cheek against her rats, a glint in her eye. I think we've already got you covered, Gansho. She turns to Isabel. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was gonna stick. It has stuck. Gobbet, Isabel, we'll handle this the same way we did with all your previous work. She didn't say Nightjar. All the jobs I line up for you will be sent to your computer on the squad boat. She's pointing at you. Got it. Why him? It's a simple process of elimination. She points to the little decker. Isabel isn't the leader type. You got that right. She moves her finger to the orc girl. As for Gobbet, let's just say Gobbet doesn't have a head for business. Not my thing. Then she rests her finger on Wu. And then there's Gansho. He wiggles it. The jury's out on Mr. Gansho. Meaning? The response is direct, straightforward. Meaning there's a lot going on within that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. Well, I'm in charge because I'm the best of the worst. Oh, my sweet, don't put it that way. She opens her arms. You are the most equipped for the role. He's making sense. You're the right person for this, Bob. I had a handle back in the Barrens. Uncle Bob. Guess it's time I dusted it off. Who shakes his head? Eyebrows raised. Gonna be weird calling you Uncle Bob again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. How it looks from Isabel to Wu to you. I guess this is our new crew. The rat on her shoulder scurries to the top of her head for a better view. Welcome to the shadows, Uncle Bob. Mission computer activation. Okay. What I still want to do is shopping. It's definitely okay. Crew advancement available. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking on the icon in the lower right corner of the screen will open the crew advancement menu. When this icon is highlighted, one or more of your companions is eligible to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level, you may choose one or two possible combat skills for each of your runners. Choose wisely. So, similar to Director's Cut edition of Dragonfall. I don't recall if the original game had it. You basically have two development lines for your character. You can mix things, but there's probably not all that many reasons to mix things. So, territoriality. Increase range combat skill and SMS submachine gun specialization. Spirits will never break away in the first 2 rounds after summoning them. Holy shit. Spirit control, please. Yeah. Mini launcher. I want to make Isabella better. Grenade launcher can now fire remote mines, which can be triggered to detonate at will. So better combat or better hacking. I think I want to go to the hacking for basically because I want to learn more about it. My initial impression wasn't exactly all that great. Now that I think about it more, where does the character skill come in the hacking? Because it's a memory game for me first, and then there was another sort of a mini game for me as a player, not the character. So I'm not sure what's the point of even having hacking skills. I mean, what's the difference really? Power Blaster program. Upgraded version of Blaster that also sticks enemies in place. Okay. Well, that could be very useful. It seems like this is guesswork, but it seems like instead of the normal matrix, it's now 2-tiered system. Basically, there's you have an option to try to go in undetected and stealthy, but if you screw things up too badly, then it'll probably revert to what it was in the earlier versions of this game. Maybe, but that's how it feels. Because there's still all the units from the previous Matrix incarnations, but now there's a sort of a top player on that with the stealth and memory games and all that. So you have to be a killer, because those two certainly aren't at the moment. Firepower round. Assault rifle ability that fires a single shot of incendiary ammo, does additional 2 points of damage and pierces up to 2 armor. Versus gains a rifle ability that does 2 action point damage and imbalances a target, making them easier to hit on subsequent attacks. This ability cannot do critical damage. This might be better. I mean, if we have to do any kind of a... This isn't bad by any means, because it also pierces armor. But this can be a hugely valuable ability in several situations, where where it's not just enough that we do our thing, but we have to prevent someone else from doing something. So the action point damage on a range attack, and, yeah, I like it. And Gobbet is potentially a very good combat character with the extra speed abilities, probably better than I'll ever be, which sort of sucks for me, but we made our choice. Um, a big thing in role-playing games is that basically there's a huge attraction at times to basically just redo things, make a new character, or not repeat the mistakes, and that sort of thing, and that's something I want to avoid as much as possible. I mean, you just have to keep playing through with the choices you made, see what happens, and that's the end of it. Reliable math. Okay. Uh, what? Reliable math. That's right, reliable Matthew Shun at your service. He extends his hand to shake. The odors of peach-scented moisturizing and stale tobacco smoke wash over you. How about it? I'm shaking his hand. Pleasure to meet you, reliable Matthew. Always, always. Welcome to our little patch of peace on the river. I think you'll really love Haoi. It's just a fantastic place. Well, now that we're acquainted, maybe I can brighten up your day a bit. What's on your robot list, friend? I don't know. It seems like a new type of robot. It's an assault version and a sniper version, and I guess sort of a normal version. So I would guess assault rifle, close range weapon upgrade, and a long range. Okay, more varied options. Drug vehicle, Robodoc, Doberman. Okay, familiar models, but new ones too. Okay, goodbye. I thought I'd have talked to this guy before, and that's why I sort of tried to skip the dialogue. Also, seems like it's a shopkeeper anyway, so it's how much do we want to chat with them? As you approach the small landing, you see three men, two elders and a young man, hunched over a go-board. The juxtaposition of the two white-haired, white-bearded men and the black-haired man is almost comical. Together, the three resemble the small black and white stones of their game. Despite the variety of ambient distractions, the three men remain acutely focused on the game. One of the elders, a round-faced man with a beatific smile, carefully picks up a black stone, places it on the board. His opponent snorts, and a small smile flashes across his long face. Almost carelessly, he snatches a white stone and deposits it on the board. The smiling man groans, and the long-faced one proceeds to collect several black pieces off the board. Ah, you got me there, Jin. He laughs, a pleasant full sound. As he trails off, he spots you watching the game. A broad smile brightens his cheeks. Why, hello there, young man. Something you need. The long-faced man gives you a cursory look and continues to collect black stones. Just a gawker shoe. It's your turn. The name's Uncle Bob. Got a second for a question? I could use a short break. How about you, Jin? Jin sighs, shoulders slumping forward. After a moment of scowling, he reluctantly speaks. Fine. A short break. Two elders turn toward the younger man. He looks to be in his early 30s, but it's difficult to tell. The skin on his face is smooth and supple, with only the suggestion of creases at the eyes, mouth, and forehead. But small gestures, a blink, a flare of his nostrils, briefly reveal the lines of his face. The man's eyes rise from the go-board and study the elders. He nods. Been having any strange dreams recently? The three men exchange looks. Shu turns to you. What a coincidence! Wasn't but an hour ago that we were all discussing that very thing. We have been having bad dreams, every one of us. Interesting. You mind sharing? Finn shakes his head and crosses his arms. What makes you think we'd be comfortable sharing our dreams with a complete stranger? Seems like a good way to get ourselves in trouble, especially with what you kids can do with that matrix you all love so much. He turns his head, pretends to spit. Chu waves his hand dismissively at Jin. Don't mind him, he's always been a poor sport. But he raises a good point. Some of our dreams contain information best left private. Just as yours do, I'm sure. Having just met, how can we be sure that you respect our personal information? I'll tell you. The young man's voice cuts through the din like a razor, and the elders fall silent. He turns to you and he locks his eyes, dark orbs that burn with piercing scrutiny onto yours. He nods and returns his gaze to the go-board. I believe you're trustworthy. Please, Uncle Bob, make yourself comfortable. I'll share my dream with you. I appreciate it. He exhales slowly, then begins speaking. I dreamed of a long, dingy hall. When faced with such a thing, one generally walks its length. So I lifted my right foot and placed it in front of me. But upon taking that first step, I found myself instead drawn down an alleyway to my left. It wasn't there before, this alley. It appeared only as I began to walk. As I moved down the alley, I found myself surrounded by friends and loved ones. They all stood there, silently watching me, with smiles on their faces. And as I passed each one of them, they fell to the ground in my wake, dropping like puppets with severed strings. Somehow I knew that if I followed this road to the end, I could have everything I'd ever dreamed of, but I woke before I could reach it. He folds his hands in his lap. There's a moment of silence before Shu speaks up, the rosiness in his cheeks having drained away. I too saw the long hall. My own experience was different, however. The hall was far off in the distance, and I was looking down on it from a strange angle, as though I were perched on a wall high above. He pauses and looks at you. You know, young man, Uncle Bob, you look very much like the person I saw walking that hall. He moved, he moved steadily down the path, walking at an even pace. Just behind him, a great and terrible shadow followed. Of course, I didn't have the best view up there on the wall, or whatever I was. I could have been anyone. Perhaps this old mind of mine is seeing your face now and misremembering the dream. He lets out a chuckle, and a small flush of red returns to his cheek. He looks over at Jin. All right, Jin, go ahead. Jin broods in his corner, arms crossed and jaw set. Could change my mind. I don't want to share my dream. Nonsense! Master Lao and I have both told him our dreams. Now it's your turn. No. fine. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. He folds his palm up toward you and looks at you. See? Straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have to. Jin, this is important. Jin's mouth opens and closes like a gasping fish. As he looks at Lao, his body relaxes, and a sadness seems to take hold of his features. Alright. But don't you go repeating any of this, you hear me? He takes in a deep breath and slowly releases it, folds his hands in his lap. My dream began as a nightmare. I dreamed of the failures and mistakes that I've made throughout my life. The people I've let down, the competitors I've crushed, the wife who died in hospice without me. I dreamed of the family that I abandoned. A change comes over him. His eyes brighten and he continues energetically. But then I dreamed of the walled city. I stood before it and its door opened to me. And when I passed inside, all of my guilt fell away. It was as though the city had absolved me, had washed away my guilt, and I remember feeling happy. As his remembrance ends, so does his lightened mood. His face shrinks into a pout, and he stares grumpily at the ground. There, I did it. You happy? Lau nods slowly. Thank you, Gwyn. You have my thanks too. Yeah, now can we change the subject? My ulcer's acting up. I'm guessing you've been around these parts longer than I have. Is this sort of thing normal? If it were normal, we wouldn't be huddled around discussing them in whispers now, would we? Enough of that, Gin. Uncle Bob here asked in earnest for our advice. He deserves a proper response. Shu gives you a gentle smile. Please forgive our friend. Bitter years have left him suspicious of others. The answer to your question is no. Upsetting dreams have never been uncommon in Haley, but these recent visitations have been different. They've been darker, more vivid, stronger than normal dreams. Last night I felt consumed by the sense that something was coming. But my friends here felt a sense of relief and excitement as their dreams ended. I felt though I were sitting on the precipice of some vast and terrible chasm, with the void yawning beneath my feet. Suddenly his cheeks flush. He blinks twice and looks away. And perhaps these are just the ramblings of an old man. Please forgive me. Scratches his nose, embarrassed. You speak wisely, Shu. It is foolish to embrace a thing that you do not understand. What Jin and I saw in our dreams was alluring, but so is the light to a moth. Your instincts are still strong and sharp, my old friend. It is wise of you to trust them. She bows deeply, his eyes to the ground. Thank you. We can only hope these dreams do lead to something beautiful. There's already enough deception in this world. Jin groans loudly. Can we get back to the game now? Yeah, I've got to head out too. Of course, take care, Uncle Bob, and if you find some time on your hands, you're always welcome at our game table. Thank you. Luck with your game. Appreciate it, young man. We'll be seeing you. Surely someone in this god-forsaken hellhole is selling spells. Major spells. Overhead, a gigantic holocene shines like a searchlight, screaming its message through the dim light. It hums and flickers, sputtering like an old engine. Fierce electrical crackles sporadically burst out of the sign's emitter, stabbing your eyes and filling your ears with static. Under the baleful glare of the sign, the rusty mini-barge deck is stacked with electronics. Dilapidated stereos share space with crispy box servers. Ranks of disks and memory chips fill display cases, padlocked under plexiglass. A short human in his late twenties stands in the middle, hands on his hips, talking loudly in the air. Bulky virtual reality goggles cover his eyes. A data jack cable runs from his temple down his stained t-shirt to a belt load of clearly home-built computer hardware. No, I'm telling you, his voice is real, click. Nobody uses KM3s, like nobody. They're shit. I don't care what Ding says. If Xiaoze SRP uses KM3s, they're stupid. Hey, Flesh is rolling up. I gotta go. He turns to face you, goggles blank and enigmatic, blinking with tiny lights and wrapped in duct tape. He points at your PDA. I ripped that PDA. You work for Kindly. His lips work impatiently. Yo, what do you want? Tell me about the PDA. It was a Fuji Azura Star 3. They use a Scarab chip, which is good, but the motherboard is with noodles and sprouts. I pulled out the trackers, installed encryption. Now it runs on the Wampoa virtual network. The corpse and cops can't crack it, can't track it. Nice work. It's what we do. This is Law's Technology Palace, satellite territory of Wampoa. You step on the boat, you are in a sovereign state. I represent Wampoa here. I am Maximum Law. He draws himself up proudly, setting his hands on his hips. The Maximum Law, yo. You got a tech problem? Boom, I solve it. You need software? Boom, done. But don't waste my time. So, you got any business in one paw right now? If not, keep moving. Looks like you've got some dangerously exposed wires over there. Yo, what are you, my mother? Who regards you with skeptical disgust? Those wires are fine where they are. High and dry, they're only a problem for someone who does something stupid. I'm running a high bandwidth tech operation. Do I look like I have time to take copper and sip tea? No, I don't. Paul wraps his knuckles fiercely on a clear-topped case full of fuses, cables, and cable harnesses. These are the only wires you need to think about. Okay, show me what you've got. Ah, Paul's Techno Palace. What's this? An X. A large X formed by peeling duct tape. Right. MTR station. Intercom. The massive steel security door is set into a bunker-like concrete wall. There is no sign or identification of what this place is. A battered intercom is encased in a cage of welded steel and armor glass. Grainy letters are barely readable. Chrome Alley, medical services and mechanical repairs. Premises protected by deadly weapons and infectious diseases. It's probably you want to upgrade your tech inside your body. Might not be a bad idea to visit it. UTR station. I would assume this is more about who wants to transport from mission to mission. Yeah. Club 88. Like most troll bouncers, this man is knotted with muscles, but absent are the myriad scars that come with age or indiscretion. His only blemishes are the bony skin growths common to his kind, and a single deep scar across his neck and collarbone. You watch yourself in here, or else we check your aerodynamics. What do you mean? Anyone causes trouble, I see how far I can throw them. No fighting, no killing, no sex trade. He lifts an arm, flexing. His muscles jump out like a mass of serpents and steel cabling. His arm is easily as thick as most humans' waists. Don't mess around. Callum Kapai. Better groomed than most of his kind, the young troll nonetheless ruins the effort with his own blatant drunkenness. His eyes are red and his expression foggy. He otherwise appears to be high functioning. Have a drink, my friend. Have two, and maybe something else to chase it, eh? You alright? Couldn't be better. I'm a prince of Club 88. Chosen, you might say. You part of the family that owns this place? You are a shrewd one, friend. I am the heir apparent, and my birthright to peddle chems to every sniffer that passes through our gates. What do you say? Need something to pick you up or bring you down? Can you tell me what I might find around here? Not a hell of a lot, but I suppose it depends on what you're in the market for. I'm your man for chemistry, and Mama offers assortments of firearms in the bag. Everything else here is just glitter and smoke. If you're looking for tech, Law's place sells all the techno bubble you could ask for. Just walk toward the giant blue holo sign that gives everyone a headache. Out further, on the same dock, Reliable Matthew is your basic used drone salesman. He's the only game in town for that sort of stuff. If you're needing magical what's-its, try the Parlor 5 phases. Haven't a clue about the stuff myself, but both places certainly smell legit from the street. You're better off staying here though. I could set you up with an ampoule of something really smooth. Cram, hype, huh? Anything that adds to your action points. I suppose I should go and take a look anyway. Security door. Weaponry. The older troll woman has a striking Amazonian quality. When she was younger, she must have really turned heads. Can I help you? You in charge? And don't you forget it. This is my family's place. Me, my husband, and our 2 boys. Now do you have business with me? I've no time for window shoppers. Okay, firearms. Yeah. Well, pistols. Nice selection of weaponry, but this is definitely not our thing in any way. Suppose the outfit might be. But what do you know? Welcome to Club 88. No killing, no fighting, no sex. I can respect that. I'm Uncle Bob. I'm Henry Kapai. I suppose I own this place. If you're looking for guns, speak to my wife. If you're looking for pharma, speak to my son Colum. If you're looking for trouble, you will be seeing my son Frederick briefly. Okay, so nothing interesting. We just need to find the magic shop and I want to set out on our mission. Ah. Spider Shen. Really? Despite the wind and rain pelting heavily, the proprietor of this stall, a monk, judging by their outfit, is unconcerned. The monk's expression is indifferent, though hardly placid or serene. Muscles show as tightly wound metal bands beneath the skin, ready to snap in any direction without warning. A physical adept. What's more, the monk's robes are anything but ordinary. Certainly, silk makes up the base outfit, but it's paired with high-impact ballistic armor, heavy-duty boots, and a bandolier of throwing knives. The table in front of you is arrayed with a wide variety of melee weapons, charms, jade pendants, and other mystical accoutrements. Beneath an awning in the rear are rows upon rows of cages, each housing some variety of exotic reptile or insect. These in turn are flanked by jars and boxes of Chinese herbs, incense, powders, and inks. The monk spares you only the shortest of glances as you approach. I'm Monk Shen. Most people in Haoi call me Spider Shen, on account of the spiders back there. They're not local, not by a long shot. It's definitely a statement, not a question. Yeah, you are not a local, not by a long shot, okay. Yeah. Trench rocks. I'll swing an open palm across the table in front of you. So, you probably have more reason to buy something than my neighbors, and I'm here to sell, so that's good. Swords, knives, clubs, I sell it all. I make most of these, but if I can't, I've got friends who can. If you need incense or salves for medication, I make and sell those too. And if your joints ache, I can give you acupuncture. Shin places both palms on the table, leaning over it towards you with a wicked grin. So, what can I show you? Street monk. Uh, Melee, nothing interesting. You sell snakes and spiders too. No, they're mine. I can sell you the things I craft with my hands, or the things I can do. But the medicines and poisons I make are my secret. You want those? You apprentice to me. In 5 years, maybe I show you how to make a poultice, eh? They're that secret. Of course they're secret. These are what set me apart from the rest of the street dealers in Hawaii. You want cram or bliss? Any two-bit triad punk can make that for you. But I can realign your ki, set your yin and yang in balance, or set somebody else's out of balance, with a few drops. To master my skill, you need to learn for years. It's not just following a formula. You want to learn, you need patience. You try to learn without patience, all you do ape the masters. Chen snaps two fingers and points to cages. You have to understand them to truly learn the art. Otherwise, you never become a master. Might as well get a skill shop. He isn't what we want. Why is it so painful to find one goddamn magic shop around here? Okay, this looks promising. Why, no dialogue options here though. I was promised a magic shop somewhere. Can't I find it? There's no map in this goddamn game, so you either just find it or you don't. Ugh. A mild scent, sweet and slightly herbal, is the first thing you notice upon entering the old shop. Its quarters are cramped, made smaller by the display cases and furniture packed inside. Walls are lined with bookshelves, and the tables and chairs are stacked with old tomes. A few titles jump out at you: Lucid Dreaming, An Exploration of the Inner Self, Dream Logic, Nocturnal Visitations. Overall, the place feels lived in, if disorganized, not quite cluttered, but close. Playing at the front of the store is the shopkeeper, lost in a book of her own. She is tall for a human, probably close to 2 meters in height. Her physique is typical bookworm, not overweight, but you can't see any muscular definition either. A wraparound tattoo covers her upper arms and shoulders, but from where you're standing you can't quite make it out. She fidgets. Gradually her eyes rise from the book and lock onto you. Welcome. Don't believe I've seen you before. She sets her book down her book and sweeps a strand of black and pink hair behind her ear. Name's Crafty. Uncle Bob, nice to meet you. She shakes your hand. Her grip is surprisingly firm. So, Uncle Bob, what can I do for you? I've got spells, alchemical reagents, folky, whatever you want, really. Might have to do some digging to find it, but if it's magical, it's around here somewhere. So, Crafty, have you had any vivid dreams lately? Her face is unreadable, her eyes lock onto yours. As a matter of fact, I have, Uncle Bob. But we all get the occasional vivid dream, nothing special there. Gesture to the books on the tabletop. Really? Then why are you reading up on them? She flicks her wrist dismissively. Sure, it's a little weird that we're having them, but these types of dreams are common in the walled city. Nothing to get all worked about, probably. Strange. I met someone the other day who said that too. Anyone who's familiar with the walled city would know that, but most people don't go out of their way to find out. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. So they're common then. Common as the cold. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. I've never been inside the walled city myself, but Mom went in pretty regularly and experienced dreams. She sounds like an interesting person. This side, these sides of her mouth dip into a shallow frown. Sure, she was interesting, but not praiseworthy. Tell me about yourself. Not sure where to start. What do you want to know? What do you do when you're not at work? I've been pretty crouched. No, I've been pretty crunched here at the shop, so I don't have a lot of time outside of work. But when I'm off the clock, I like to read and paint, maybe kick back and enjoy a meal with my friends. My buddy Gubbit sometimes stops by with food. No drag racing or anything. Pretty boring. You said you paint. That for one, I don't make any money of it or anything like that. I just find it relaxing. He pats her arms. He signed my tattoos, but that's about the extent I take it beyond the canvas. Ever try painting things from the dreams? No, I'd never taint my canvas like that. What happens in the dream should stay there. Let's keep it out of our waking lives as much as possible. I know a gobbet. Wonder if they're the same person. You know a lot of gobbets. Her teasing resolves itself in a gentle smirk. I'm sure they're the one and the same. She's a good person. We're not that real close, but we have a pleasant relationship. Chatting over French fries, discussing our latest reads, shallow things. How do you know her? She and Isabel got me out of a tough spot. Good. Keep her by your side. Cupid's pretty fluent in ways of this city, the people who live here. She knows her stuff. If you stick with her, you'll find yourself in a lot less trouble than you would otherwise. Do you like to read? Crafty claps her hands together and a slow smile spread across her face. Aside from the usual, I love sitting down each morning to a tall cup of soy cap, and with the latest news stream on hand, I pop it right open to the obituaries. Makes for great reading. He smiles at you for a moment before speaking. Kidding. Well, for all you know. I tend to stray toward detective novels, maybe some suspense and horror, and when I'm not reading for leisure, I study my textbooks to keep my magic sharp. Your mother sounds like quite a mage. Did you study magic too? I sure did. Natural predisposition. He flexes her arm. Or whatever. But Mom and I learned the craft differently. I went to university and she was book taught. Mom was very old school. Her magic wasn't as applicable to everyday situations, and it was rooted in superstitions. It still worked, and well, but only for more ritualistic ancient spells. Practical spells like rain shields and bottomless trash cans were outside of her repertoire. I suppose Crafty isn't your first name. No. A wave of nostalgia seems to pull her gaze toward the shop's front window. The name started out as a joke, actually. Like how my mom used to call me Crafty since the meaning is similar to my given name. I liked it because of the way it sounds. I insisted that my family call me Crafty, so it became a sort of a nickname around the house. When I got older and started school in Hong Kong, I made my mom register me as Crafty, and it stuck. What is your given name? Meow. She raises her hand to prevent you from replying. Yes, like a cat. You foreigners always make that same joke, which is why I grew up hating Meow. Call me Crafty. Hmm. Okay. Powerbolt. I think we have Acid Bolt 1 with the wonderful damage of 4. What do these require? Spellcasting 1. Shamanic Ritual Garb. Mm-hmm. Chain Lightning 1. Spellcasting 6, Intelligence 3. Yeah, this is not gonna be our thing. Spellcasting 4. Blood Magic. Okay, that's a new thing. If the target is damaged by the spell, caster gains 4 hit points per round for 2 rounds. A heal wound. Spellcasting 2. Okay. I sort of suspected that. Loading, loading, loading. Still, it's not that expensive, and we need someone with a heal. Gobet has it, but she's not always with us. Mind wipe. Target ignores all enemies. Spell magic. Acid stream. Flamethrower. Yeah, we'll take this. But will we? We would prefer shamanic casting, because I think it uses charisma as a basis for targeting. Air barrier. Slow. We don't have that much money, so we have to... Ooh, Hermetic Fetish. Possession of this fetish grants a benefit of +1 willpower. Okay, very expensive. Shamanic. +1 charisma. Probably should buy at least one... Okay, all these fetishes are shit. Simple magic... Oh, Shamanic Salve. Simple magically prepared salve that heals 4 base hit points, and a further 4 hit points per round for 3 rounds. Hmm. Fuck, this shamanic fetishes are incredibly expensive. Okay, could we get some more abilities? Air barrier, at least we can use it. Yes, just give it to me. Reduces the chance to target someone by 15%. Target gains +2 armor, lasts until combat ends. Increase mobility, that might be good too. Charisma +1. Fetish. No, I don't think so. The slow might be nice. Yeah. Better attack spell, definitely, if we can afford it. This is shit. Four points of damage, blah 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 blah. We need at least something else. Yeah, preferably, this is a mage spell, okay. Preferably, maybe the acid stream. The shamanic spells don't really have the direct damage thing. However, this is just crap. 4 points of damage is nothing. I'm not sure if I want to buy anything though, because we... Maybe lightning bolt. No. Too long of a cooldown. I'm taking the flamethrower. Oh, this is Tash. Okay. So very different type of spells. I see. Okay. Anything else you know about the walled city? Very little. Just that my mother spent most of her time in there, and she shifts her weight, leans onto the counter. Well, it messed her up. Is there something specific you want to know about it? Know about the people who live there. All city residents tend to fall into two groups, those who are threats and those who are threatened. You're either hunting or hiding. Life is harsh, most people never get out. Now, there's a whole library here that just so happens to be the foremost location for Wall City texts. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. Hmm. Been thinking about the dreams. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why do you think they're affecting people outside the walled city? It's definitely strange. Until now I always thought the dreams were nonsense. That my mother just had night terrors because of her madness. She props her chin up with her right hand. But now it's really happening. And not just to me, to others around Haoi. Those same psychic forces that drove Mom insane are etching into our subconsciousness. Lately I've been wondering if there might have been something to her ravings. Maybe. I've been skeptical for so long it feels almost blasphemous to consider it. Maybe the walled city's curse is real. She rubs her hands down her face, obviously frustrated. I just don't know. Maybe you can learn something from your mom's journals. That's true, but my mother's notes are scattered all over the shop. Most of her research is scrawled in the margins of the books that you see on the shelves and piles of stacks all over. The clues we'd need to figure this thing out could be in any one of these volumes, and there are thousands of them. Okay, but with the dream's reach spreading, can you really afford to let all this knowledge just sit here? She sighs, straightens up. Yeah, I know what I have to do, it just... Damn, look at them all! She tiredly looks down at the book she was reading earlier. I guess I won't be finishing this anytime soon. Alright, Uncle Bob, I'm going to get started. Now. But it'll take time. The House of Five Faces is jammed from floor to ceiling with books, and any one of them could hold valuable information. Check in once in a while and I'll share my findings with you. Doing the right thing. I'll do what I can do. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yep. Thanks, Crafty. Oh, God. This game is very slow to get going. Very, very slow.